So our next speaker is actually also our moderator, right? So you have seen him already. So it's Hashimoto Yūta, who is assistant professor now. At least I can introduce you properly at the National Museum of Japanese History. So it's at the Rekihaku out there. He received his PhD at Kyoto University in the field of history of science, and he's now working currently on the projects related to digital history, which I find very interesting. So, please, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind introduction, Sensei. So, my name is Yūta Hashimoto, and my talk focuses on the possibility of what I call participatory database of Premodern Japanese texts. In other words, I will talk about the idea of building a text database through crowdsourcing. But personally, I don't like the word crowdsourcing because it is a word coined in the context of business and derived from the word outsourcing. So, but at the same time, crowdsourcing is a very useful word. So maybe I will use the word sometimes, several times in my presentation. So, before starting my presentation, I'd like to introduce about myself a bit more. Because my career is a bit strange. Well, as Oka-sensei said earlier, my research interest lies in digital history, namely the application of information technologies, including programming, to historical studies. Well, I originally majored in history of science and got a master's degree in this field before starting my research in the field of digital humanities. While my background is history, I had worked as a programmer in a private community for 3 years after I got a master's degree. Also, I finally submitted my PhD thesis last week. So I haven't gotten PhD.
Okay. So we'll take that off again.
So but I have to apologize because I don't have much time to prepare for this presentation. So, but I promise that the project I am going to speak about itself is very interesting. So, in my talk, I will talk about digital humanities and text database. I mean, how text databases contribute to the rise of digital humanities. And second, I will introduce the idea of what I call participatory text database. And finally, I will talk about my project, Minna de翻刻, which is a crowdsourced transcription project of disaster records. So the rise of digital humanities is deeply connected with the digital humanities. Digital humanity itself is a very new academic field that has evolved in the mid-2000s. It is said that the term digital humanity has become popular only after 2004, when Susan Schreitman's book companion to the Humanities was published. However, it has a long prehistory. The very first use of a computer for humanities studies was the development project of index tomisticics. Maybe my pronunciation is wrong. It's a complete corpus of the works by Thomas Aquinas. The director of the project, Roberto Bussa, was an Italian Jesuit priest. He came up with the idea to build the corpus in the 1940s, and he completed this project spending 30 years, and the corpus was the last portion of corpus was published in 1970s. So one can say the first digital humanities project was an attempt to build a large-scale text database. And there are many followers of Roberto Bussa, and lots of humanities scholars started using computers to humanities studies. Already in 1966, the first journal for the usage of computers in humanities was founded, and in 1971, Project Gutenberg, which I will talk about later, was started by Michael Hartman. And in the 1990s, when internet has grown very rapidly, there are lots of important online text databases, including Women Writers Project, Rosette Archive, William Blake Archive. And all these events has contributed to the rise of digital humanities in the 2000s. And as most of the people in this room well know, there are a number of text databases for the studies of Premodern Japanese texts. And some of them are hosted by academic institutes, such as Historiographical Institute, the University of Tokyo. And some are hosted by a company like Japan Knowledge. But there are lots of non-digitized materials. Which in the future digitized, and maybe databases will be built for them. Well, for example, there are lots of woodblock printings published in the Edo period. Well, Mitsutoshi Nakano, a prominent scholar of early modern Japanese literature, estimates that there are at least 1.5 million of woodblock printings, wahon, but only 1% of those Rahon books translated by scholars. Of course, there are handwritten documents like Komonjo or Kokiroku. Historian Hiroki Okumura estimates that the number of historical documents preserved all over Japan to be around 20 billions. Maybe I heard he calculated from the number of documents preserved in villages and estimated the total number. Well, what I want to say here is that, well, we need more text databases in order to make use of digital methods such as text mining or that has been brought by digital humanities. So, one very promising method to build a large-scale text database is to build a database with the help of voluntary citizens. I mean, by building a text database through crowdsourcing. Well, usually it takes so long time and lots of money to build a text database purely by professional scholars. But if you can get help from many citizens through the internet, it is very likely that you can build databases without much money. And if you succeeded to let thousands of citizens to build the database you are building, it's very easy to build a very large-scale database. So there's already there are many text databases or something called digital libraries. I mean, there are very well-known projects like Project Gutenberg. It is the oldest digital library project funded by Michael Hart, founded in 1971. So it is a pre-internet digital library project. Currently, Project Gutenberg offers over 56,000 documents online. And also for modern Japanese texts, we have Aozora Bunko. I think most of you well know. is a digital library of Japanese out-of-copyright books that was originally organized and developed by Michio Tomita since 1997. And while it is a digital library, some of the scholars are using Aozora Bunko as a dataset for text mining. For instance, Hoyt Long at the University of Chicago has recently developed Aozora Saji, a search interface for Aozora Bunko. And librarian named Mori Desjardins at Penn Library has written Python libraries for processing texts from Aozora Bunko. Well, and Project Transcribe Besan was unlike Project Gutenberg and Aozora Bunko. Transcribe Besan is a pure crowdsourcing project administered by scholars at UCL since 2012. It aims to transcribe Bensam's unpublished manuscripts and publish the new edition of the corrected works of Jeremy Bentham. And so many people has participated in the transcription, and nearly 20,000 pages out of 44,000 pages have been transcribed. Finally, let me introduce my project, Minna de Honkoku. Well, Minna de Honkoku is a crowdsourcing platform developed for the large-scale transcription of Premodern Japanese earthquake records developed by Historical Earthquake Study Group, HESG, at Kyoto University. From now on, I will briefly describe the aim, materials, approach, and results of the project. So I'd like to start with the project background. HESG is a joint group of seismologists and historians, including myself at Kyoto University, who have been studying Premodern earthquake records for seismic research and disaster prevention. Well, since instrumental observation of earthquakes in Japan began only after the end of the 19th century, so transcribing written records are required for studying past earthquakes. So Japanese seismologists have developed an extensive collaboration with historians and archivists. However, the number of records to be transcribed is vast and cannot be handled by a small group of scholars. This prompted the members of HESG, including myself, to think of using crowdsourcing for transcribing historical earthquake records. Well, we have set the first goal of our project, Minna de Honkoku, to transcribe all the 14 books from the Hashimoto collection, which is composed of historical earthquake records collected by a seismologist, Michio Hashimoto, and digitized by Earthquake Research Institute, ERI, at the University of Tokyo. The number of pages in the books ranges from 14 to 200. The total number of images across the 114 books is 3,200. Well, each digital image in the collection contains two pages, like this. So, but there are so many challenges to be overcome. The biggest challenge of our project is to crowdsource the reading of kuzushiji, which is eligible for most modern Japanese people, except trained experts, like Ikura Sensei. It is said that only less than 1% of modern Japanese are able to read kuzushiji. And another problem is how to recruit many volunteers, which will be necessary for the success of a crowdsourcing project. And the third challenge is to provide motivations to the participants for their continual engagements. And our approach to these challenges was to design our crowdsourcing system as an online learning environment where participants can learn kuzushiji by transcribing the earthquake records in a collaborative manner. This approach was implemented in two ways. The first one is collaboration with kuzushiji learning app, Kura. More specifically, Minna de Honkoku collaborates with Kura, kuzushiji learning app, which is a mobile learning app for reading kuzushiji that was developed by Osaka University and has been downloaded nearly 10,000 times, 100,000 times, sorry, since its release in 2016. After completing a set of basic lessons for reading kuzushiji, the users of Kura are invited to Minna de Honkoku as an opportunity to acquire more practical trainings by transcribing actual materials from Premodern Japan. They can thus begin participating in the project as a continuation of their learning. And the second method is a collaborative learning through peer reviews. Transcribing kuzushiji correctly is quite difficult, and beginners usually make a lot of mistakes. For quality control of transcriptions, Minna de Honkoku uses peer review system. That means when you finish transcribing an image on Minna de Honkoku, your transcription will be shared and reviewed by other participants on the timeline that shows user activities in the real time. When another participant makes corrections on your transcription, you will receive a notification with the feedback, which will inform you of the mistakes you made and the corrections. So let me demonstrate the system of Minna de Honkoku. This is the dashboard of Minna de Honkoku. It is divided by three parts. On the left side, there are navigation menus. On the center, is a you see the timeline that shows user activities on Minna de翻刻. So for instance, 15 minutes ago, a user named Mikami Masaki transcribed 567 characters. And 1 hour ago, Itomai Isuke transcribed 700 characters, and so on. And on the right side, there are lots of other information, like such as project progress, which I will talk about in detail later. And you see, we have the readerboard, which shows the most active users. So, from the readerboard, the most active user is a user named Takano Kiyoshi. He has transcribed 500,000 characters since the last year. It's like writing 2 or 3 books. And from the menus on the left side, you see the list of books to be transcribed. Well, currently we have 470 books on Minna de翻刻, and books to be transcribed is divided into a small set of stages, and we have 8 stages for now. Let's see this one. 福岡テレビ、信濃国大地震、山川崩れ、砲撃の図。So it's like, it seems that this is the record of, I think this is not a good example. Okay, let's choose group from stage 1. You see red stamps on the books, and this shows the transcription of the book is finished. 翻刻完了ですね。So by clicking the thumbnail image, we will jump to the transcription editor. And on the transcription editor, you'll see the image of the document on the right side, which you can pan or zoom out, zoom in, like this. And you see on the left side, text editor, where the participants will input their transcription text. So in order to start transcribing, click the 編集開始 button on the top, and there's a mascot named Shimimaru navigates you. So in order to start transcription, click this button, and text here can be editable. And you can put lots of, you can input Ruby like this. See, Ruby is shown here. And there are several tabs here. And clicking Ensure shows the editing history, where you can see who edited this image, and how text has been changed by the user. And text colored with red represents text deleted by the user, and green represents the green colored text represents text added by the user. And as you do in Facebook or Twitter, you can like anyone's transcription. Yes. And you will get a notification like this. No one liked my program. But anyhow, in this way you can show appreciation to other users or support to her and to her or him. This one I will just describe the changes that I have made. Sorry, that's enough for the demonstration. Well, the current, I'd like to talk about the current progress of the project. So far, we have almost 4,000 registered users, and books transcribed so far. The number of books transcribed so far is 420, and total of characters transcribed is 4.18 million. And we also did additional research in order to know what types of people participate in the project. And so we administered an online questionnaire to the participants. Between March 8 to May 13, 2017, we obtained responses from 64 participants. And following is a brief summary of the questionnaire results. And first, it turned out that 70% of the respondents are Kura users, suggesting that Kura works effectively as an entrance to the project. And we also asked the participants about their motivations, and we asked respondents to choose the reasons of their participation from 12 predefined choices. And the most selected reasons are as follows. And transcribe historical manuscript is fun. And second, I can learn from other participants, transcription and reviews. And I can contribute to seismic research and disaster prevention through the project. This suggests that the possibility of collaborative learning greatly motivates the participants, although the most powerful motivation is the enjoyment gained from transcribing. And I think you may wonder how accurate the transcription is. And we asked a historian of medieval Japan and to examine the transcribed texts. And the result is, here is the result. So, in average, there are 1.3 characters per out of 100, and there are, the error ratio of the transcription text is 1.3 in case of woodblock projects. And in case of handwritten documents, which is more difficult to transcribe, the error ratio was 2.0, and overall the error ratio was 1.5. So this is not that I can't say the quality of transcription on Minna de honkoku is as good as the transcription done by professional scholars, but it is good enough for text search or understand grasp the basic meanings of the text. Okay, next. One unique thing about this project is that it collaborates with Nico Doga, video sharing website similar to YouTube. The title of the program was みんなで翻刻してみた. And let's look at how actually the program was. She's a member of HESG. And you see comments
コメントにもありましたけど、この崩しですね。で、
the viewers of the
これが今の方だとこうなって
This is live broadcasting, so
こんな感じですかね。で、ここは続いて見えるかな。で、もっと崩すとこれぐらいになったりもします。で、タはさっきもありましたけども、大きく崩しで、もうこれだけになりますね。で、空はそのまんまですね。で、和は王様の王で、これは
なるほど。2が負になってすになって
で、これがこっちに回ってるかな。そうです。こうかな。リっぽくなっちゃったな。これがこんなに回らないかな。これがこのままこっちにシュッと曲がる感じで、これで王様の王で、これではこんな感じでしょうか。
As you see, this program was built by 16,000 people, and some of them has participated in the project transcribing. And we also set up. We also attended ニコニコ超会議。Sorry, this. So I'm taking too much time. Okay. This is the list of future directions. I'm really sorry. I'd like to finish my presentation. Thank you so much.
Yeah.